Hey everyone, welcome to Sportsbet Daily at oddsmarket.com. We've got English Football League coming up with at DaveBets. Eastlake, where the Tour Championship finale takes place. Just up the road from Augusta. Will it be a big win for Justin Thomas last week? Course record 61 at Medina. And then we'll be off to Shanghai, where Dota 2 is taking place. And obviously we're talking esports. Then we're going to be talking to Adam. But first of all, let's speak to DaveBets. DaveBets, how are you after that weekend?
Hello, Flash. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How was your weekend?
Yeah, good weekend. A real good weekend. Even though my favourite fighter, DC, came up short, other than that, it's been a real profitable weekend. We went 7-1 in football across Friday and Saturday's games. And the live kegcast, fightcast that we hold every weekend did another successful run. And I think we're now 21 out of 23 fightcasts are now in profit. So.
Well, myself and Nat both went down to support you. We posted the pictures. My first time of actually sitting and watching a whole UFC event. And I couldn't pick the winner in most of them during the fight. So God knows how you do it, like with weeks leading up to it. I mean, they were all so close and they twists and turns. It was thoroughly entertaining. And when I told someone it was my first time watching UFC, they actually thought I was looking them in the eye and lying. Listen, let's hope that your EFL tips are as good as your UFC. Where do you want to start, Dave?
Well, to be fair, the games are split between tonight and tomorrow. The fixtures that we're looking at tonight, I don't really like any of the games. Other than Sheffield Wednesday is probably the only lean I have in tonight's slate. So we may as well kick off with tomorrow's games and start with Fulham Millwall at Craven Cottage.
Yeah, before we go to Fulham Millwall, because I was actually at Sheffield Wednesday the last time they beat Luton, and that was in 1992, coming from 2-1 down to win 3-2. Now, S6 is bouncing at the moment, even though it has no manager. So I think Sheffield Wednesday, I mean, you tell me 1.95 was available. I think it's now 1.75, maybe 1.8 in a place for Sheffield Wednesday to beat Luton. I thoroughly expect the Owls to win this game. But again, they're just both leans. So let's go with something a little bit more concrete. Let's go down to Craven Cottage tomorrow night at home, Millwall. London derby, Dave.
Yeah, look, no one expected Millwall to come out like this and be, one of the top 6 or 7 teams that are at the top of the table. Wins at home is a whole different ball game to wins away. And everyone knows that playing at the Den is probably one of the hardest grounds to play at, no matter what division you're in. I think the ref had balls of steel to give a red card out to Millwall at the half, because I'm not surprised he didn't walk out of that game with a 2p piece or a 50p piece engraved in the side of his head. The Den is a tough place to play at, but tomorrow, Millwall, they're not at the Den. They're at Craven Cottage. They're playing probably the best team in the league, if not one of the top 3 best teams in the league. I tipped this team to finish in the top 6 at just under evens. They had a rocky introduction with the loss to, was it Barnsley? But Mitrovic has found his form. And look, he was the top goal scorer in the EPL last year for Fulham. I think he bagged 11 goals last year. That didn't save him, but now we're in the Championship, and I think he could potentially double that goal amount. Lovely back header at the post in the last game. Huddersfield fired back quite quick, but then straight away again, Cavallero. Did you see the goal from Cavallero? Jesus, yeah, the curl on that strike.
I did. And listen, Fulham are my futures in this league, and for 2 of the reasons that you've just mentioned. I think Mitrovic will be top scorer, or if not top scorer, he'll definitely be in the top 2 or 3. I think they've got the quality. The big thing I would say about them is they've got to get their urgency up and understand the battle that they're going to have week in, week out in the Championship. You get more time on the ball in the Premiership. They come up against a Millwall side who are all heart and all organisation. You put them in behind the 8 ball, you get ahead early, and then they have to change their tact. So for me, I mean, I expect Fulham to win this game, but just winning the game, you're not going to get any value. So where have you found value, Dave?
No, you're exactly right, Flash. Picking Fulham at home, you're probably not going to find much value all season if their form stays up. They can't afford to drop games to teams like Millwall at home. I just can't see them losing this. But with the value, we need to search other markets. And one of my favourite markets, and I think one of Odds Market's, Football Capper's favourite markets, is picking the win and then combine that with the total goals. You can get Fulham to win under 4.5 goals. I don't expect a hammering. It's a London derby. It's probably going to be tight. I predict maybe 2-1, 2-0 Fulham. So Fulham to win and under 4.5 goals at 2.50 with Betway or Coral holds incredible value in my opinion. 2.50 plus 150 for the Americans. Yeah, Betway or Coral, you can get that price. I'm not sure if it will still be there now, but that's what I took yesterday.
No, it's not still there. It is absolutely been smashed. And that's probably because people have been reading your article at oddsmarket.com. You get the jump on these things if you go to the website. Have a look at these, the writers. They do their homework, they put it up early, and you can jump on these prices. I've found 2 is the best for Fulham and under 4.5 at home to Millwall. So we've penciled that one in. We got the value. Move on to your next game then, Dave.
Yeah, the next game, we don't have to discuss this next game as much because I'm not interested in a side whatsoever. But we'll take a look at West Brom versus Reading. West Brom, they hammered Luton. They earned everything on the pitch that day. They made Luton look like fish out of water. Luton are looking quite bad right now. So that's one of my teams I'm looking at to fade quite often if they keep up this poor form. When
I talk about West Brom games, Dave, I always think the first thing you do is you start on both teams to score. I mean, we know that Reading have got the young boy Puskas who's come in with a bang. And by the way, what a talent he looks like. He reminds me of Matej Vedra, who about 7 or 8 years ago burst on the scene with Watford. But West Brom score goals. They score goals home or away. But the one thing they've not sorted out is that defence. So can we have both teams to score in this game?
You sure can, buddy. And the price, I'm not sure what the price is at now. I managed to squeak a 1.75 because the bookies know what's going to happen. Both teams are going to probably find the net. And Boyle Sports gave me 1.75. I'm not sure what other books are offering right now, but I'm guessing that's probably dropped 10 points, 1.65 or 1.60 around that price.
And that's your play. Both teams to score, leave it at that.
Yeah, both teams are going to score. Look, 6 out of 7 West Brom fixtures have seen both teams landing a goal and putting themselves on the score sheet. So both sides have got the firepower. Like you mentioned, Puskas, he had Reading into the half, winning 2-0 at the weekend. So the win against the 3-0 beating over Cardiff just came easy. Neither team is shy in front of goal. It has to be both teams to score here, Flash, for me.
Okay, why don't we flick on? What about Leeds and Brentford? Because last year you didn't oppose Brentford at home and you didn't oppose Brentford away. Now all of a sudden, Brentford, they're struggling and Leeds have got off to a really, really good start. So is it one-way traffic, Leeds versus Brentford?
Yeah, look, much like Fulham, Leeds are tipped by the bookmaker to be a potential, well, they are the favourite to win the league this season. And they're showing that they can do that so far. They wiped the floor with Wigan. Unfortunately for Wigan, they were down to 10 men. So, that's not great news when you have to face an attacking Leeds side. Bamford, bang, 2 goals. And to be fair, even though Bamford got the goals, the goalkeeper should have been man of the match for that one because he was all over the place. Keeping Leeds on the clean sheet for that one. Brentford, they they come away with a draw against Hull at home, and now they're facing Leeds at Ellen Road. It's not looking good for them, to be honest. I'm not seeing any problems they're going to cause Leeds. But much like Fulham, it's we have to look for a value play, because you're not going to get you're getting nothing on Leeds at home. So Leeds United to win and over 1.5 goals, I got for just under evens, 1.91, minus 110 on the American, and yeah, 10.11 for the fractional price. I think that's the only value that I can find on Leeds right now. Yeah, I love that play. Probably my favourite play.
And you've got to go against the Brentford side who have basically lost their top scorer, who ends up going to Brighton. You've got Sawyer, who leaves as well, who was like a mainstay of creating their opportunities. So, I mean, you look at it, and Leeds and over 1.5 at 1.91, it looks like an absolute knocker. What about the side that's probably disappointed most so far? You mentioned that it went to Reading and got beat at the weekend. Cardiff at home to, well, we called them Huddersfield nil last year. They just don't want to put bodies in the box. So, do you see Cardiff beating Huddersfield?
It's a tough one, you know. It's rough. Huddersfield have got to pull some things together soon. You know, they just fired their manager. Maybe that will be what they need to, you know, finally break through.
Would you have fired him, Dave, after 3 games?
I'd have fired him in the summer flash, to be honest. It's way too late to be, you know, making these decisions at the start of the season. They could have had that summer to build off of what they had, rather than waiting until the season started. Now you're behind. Everybody is on their way and doing what they need to do, whilst you're pissing around with management still.
So the appointment was wrong in the first place?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's as important. I've always said, obviously, my whole background is in recruitment, scouting, and that doesn't just go on players. That you bring the right people into the football club at any level, they've got to go and they've got to achieve. Now, you go and bring a manager in, the person who recruited that man has got to look at himself and go, I made the wrong decision. This is the only place in the world where they make wrong decision after wrong decision and no heads roll. And yet, it's the most important position at a football club. You've got to give the manager and the other players tools and help to go and do the job. Cardiff, Huddersfield, how are we going to find an angle then, Dave?
Both teams coming off a beating, really. Reading slapsticking Cardiff at the weekend. And, you know, obviously Huddersfield had the tougher task in Fulham. But, you know, a 1-1 draw to QPR is not something to be proud about either. You know, it's a real rough one. Both teams are bad. Maybe it's an underplay. I just don't like this game at all, Flash. I just have to stay away from these type of fixtures until I can see what these teams are going to give us for the rest of the season. We're 3 games deep. It's too hard to tell. It's really too hard to tell.
Listen, I totally agree, because I say every year that you won't see me in the Championship, League 1 or League 2, until after the 4th game. So we've done a little bit of Championship. Let me try and entice you into League 1, eh? League 1, there's a few sides that have got off to good starts. Anything take your fancy?
Do you know what? League 1 is real interesting right now, because we have a few teams who haven't even conceded goals. So to see my City take the first 3 games and not concede a goal has really surprised me. We are in the shit right now. We don't have a ground. Fans, and you know, only the diehard fans are traveling to Birmingham to support our, you know, home games. But we're doing well. We're doing really well. I'm surprised.
Portsmouth away, though, that's a big ask, isn't it?
Say again, buddy.
Portsmouth away, big ask.
Wow, Portsmouth's form's a bit. I think they've won 1, drawn 1, lost 1 so far. They're a bit all over the place, and as my team has that confidence behind them, and they're now playing away, so obviously we're gonna get some great prices. I didn't add this play in my article, but I was looking at it today and I thought, how could I not? You can get Coventry plus a goal at evens today. I can't remember which bookie it was with, but you can get Coventry for +1 at evens. To me, that's a no-brainer. We haven't even conceded a goal, Flash.
So that's basically Coventry double chance, then, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Okay. We can take a draw or we can sneak a win. I love it. +1 for evens, and we haven't even conceded a goal yet. We're playing well. I was surprised, really surprised. If I walk out my house now, Flash, and I put my camera on for you, you'll see banners saying Sisu out on the block of flats around me. People are real passionate about our team. So I hope we can do something this season, because if we can, the support is unreal in this city and would be a great championship team again. I'm telling you that for nothing.
Them banners must be moth-eaten. I remember seeing Sisu out about 8 years ago.
Oh, mate, them banners, the banners now, they've got holes in them, and you know they've took all types of weather. It's been years, buddy. It's a joke. We never should have left Highfield Road. At the end of the day, demolishing that ground. That ground was in the heart of our city. It was round the corner from my old man's house. It was a beautiful thing. Walking to the game, walking through the busy centre, everybody walking together to the ground. There was nothing. There was no reason to sell that, Flash. No reason at all. We were a declining team going into a huge ground. Made no sense. Made no sense whatsoever.
Okay, let's get you off this. Let's get you off this Coventry train, eh? Otherwise, we're going a bit like political, and you're going to get all teary-eyed on me. What about Blackpool?
Yeah.
What about Blackpool? They've started off quite well against the Gillingham side. You'd never know what you're going to get.
One of the best games from the weekend in League One was Blackpool versus Oxford. Blackpool have been doing well. They've been playing great. And Oxford held their own. They really did hold their own. And if it wasn't for a penalty, they would have took a draw away from Blackpool. But Gondawia, he was top goal scorer, and now he's Blackpool's top man. He's got 3 goals already. I can see him getting back on that score sheet tonight. And I like Blackpool. It's funny actually, because Oxford are coming off the loss, but I love them today because you can get Oxford. You can get Oxford for 2.40, I think, or 2.30 as a straight win at home. I love that. And then at the same time, Blackpool are playing away, and I do like them to continue this winning streak. But you know, just to play it safe, you can get the draw no bet for just under evens as well at 1.90.
Okay, well, whenever we talk about the lower leagues, and you can talk to 20 or 30 people, 28, 29 of them will all want to be talking about Lincoln. Do you want to talk about Lincoln?
Yeah, Lincoln away to MK Dons once again. Lincoln joined Coventry and one of the teams that haven't even conceded a goal. And whilst I was on the draw no bet market looking at Blackpool, I thought Lincoln away, they're gonna hold a similar price, and to my surprise, they held a better price at 1.96. So we're right just under evens on a chance of a draw. On the chance that we can get that away win, but if we fail and it's a draw, we get our money back, which I think is great on a team which is just steaming through right now. They're playing great football. It's not like lower league football that they're playing. They're getting their goal and then they're keeping it tight and they're defending well. And it's 1 or 2-0 wins that Lincoln are seeing. It's beautiful football for a team in League One, in my opinion, Flash.
Okay, before we say adios, amigo, give us your best bet in League One and your best play in the Championship, please, Dave.
Oh, one that I actually didn't mention, and I would say Leeds and the over 1.5, but I think people might struggle to get that price now at 1.91. So I'll say Charlton versus Nottingham Forest, both teams to score at 1.80 is my favourite bet in the Championship. Both teams are putting goals away. Forest are looking real impressive to me, and I can just see both of them guys getting on the score sheet. And at 1.80, I thought that was a great price. You can get that at Coral. For English League One, my best bet, I'll I'll give one that isn't in my article. I'll say Coventry +1, and you can get that, I believe, at just under evens, directly under.
Top man, Dave. Love your work. Keep up the UFC. Remember to go and watch, have a look at all at DaveBets articles on oddsmarket.com. And I will see you soon, Dave.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good one, mate.
Yeah, you take care. Now, if you're a golfing fan, it all comes down to this on the American side of the pond. It's the FedEx, it's the Tour Champs. It's off to Eastlake. Direct road between Eastlake and Augusta National is Freeway 20. Joining me today, we're talking golf. We've got to be talking to Craig Edwards. Craig, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you? Are you settling in?
I'm settled in, but I'm a little bit confused, and I don't understand why we've now got Justin Thomas starts at 10 under, Cantlay starts at 8 under, we've got Brooks free back on 7 under, and it's like, wow. I mean, I've even asked the video team to put a caption up so that they can actually see in a graphic that we're going to be able to see that you're starting the tournament so many shots behind.
It seems at the moment, Flash, I'm like you, it seems crazy. And it has taken a lot of bad press. But I think we'll have to just see how it pans out, and then we'll know better next week. But I won't fancy being a player ranked between 26 and 30 because I'm giving Justin Thomas 10-shot start. I mean, he's the player in form, and there's not many players are going to catch him from that setup.
No, I mean, you have a look at it, and I mean, you say he's on the back of that 61 at Medina, and we all know what Justin Thomas is all about. He keeps going, and if he gets streaky hot, it can all be off. And it basically, we're looking now for someone like a Koepka, like a McIlroy, like a Rahm. I don't fancy Cantlay to come and challenge him. So, I mean, there's a few different markets. Where do you see the angles here, Craig?
Well, at first, Flash, I thought, I don't fancy betting this. There are some markets for the 72-hole just tournament. And obviously, they could suit players like Matsuyama, who's played well here in the past. He played well at the weekend, 263s. He's about 20-1, well, 21 in American odds. And that's an interesting market for players like Matsuyama, Adam Scott, players that are playing well, used to Eastlake. Adam Scott's won at Eastlake before. I still do see some value in the main market, but it's a bit like a horse race now. So Justin Thomas is the leader, and someone's going to have to catch him. And I'm not convinced about Justin Thomas as a front runner. So there is just a chance that if people can play well enough, they may catch him. So I'm thinking maybe Brooks Koepka, because it's 15 million. It'll probably be the last time he plays competitively for a few months. And if he could just hang about till Sunday within a few strokes of him, within 3 strokes, then Brooks Koepka could easily be the one. The other one I like, Flash, is the Spaniard, John Rahm. Since the US Open, he has played superbly. He only won the Irish Open, and that was from behind on the last day. And if he was a racehorse, I think you'd need to produce John Rahm on the line. So he is playing superbly every week. So if he can manage to get within 3 or 4 going into last round, then if Justin Thomas blows up, then there will be a chance. But in the main market, I think you could say that Webb Simpson, Adam Scott, and all them players might be solid bets for a top 10 finish. I think Adam Scott's 230 or 13 to 10. There was a bit of 7 to 4 about. I mean, I've got to be honest, I think I took that. So, so I think there is some value about, but maybe it might be in the market that's just the 72 holes with no pressure. I mean, Kisner's playing well, he's played here before. But some players, Flash, as you know, at 26 to 30, they may actually already practicing for the month. They may actually just be going there and getting their check and going home, because the prize money difference down below will not be anywhere near what it is at the top. So
no, you say about the check. It's $385,000 just for turning up. I think the top 10 are all guaranteed $1 million. Now, I'm glad you said about the market away from the FedEx. So take away the FedEx scores, and you have banged on both of my selections. I'm going with Kopka at 11 and Rahm at 11 in the open market. I think it's a fifth of the odds first 5. I think they'll both make a run at Thomas.
Yep.
And the thing is, they may, like, they've only got to make 2 shots up over the course of 72 holes to have a better score than him. So I thought that both Kopka and Rahm will be there on Sunday. And if you've got 11 to 1 each of 2 each way, I thought that in the open market, without the lead, I thought that the pair of them would be very, very dangerous. I mean, you can get Kopka, I think like 6.5 or 6 in the market where he is 3 behind. I think this is tailor-made for Kopka to go and show the class player he is. Take nothing away from Justin Thomas, massive favourite, and we all know that if he gets on a roll, it could be over come Saturday afternoon.
Definitely could, but I'm not as convinced about Justin Thomas this season. He even had a wobble on Sunday with a 7-shot lead. I'm like you, Cantlay. I fancy him to be thereabouts, but you never fancy him to win. He's often a good each-way bet, but that is great value on Kopka because, like you say, he's got the motivation to play well and be in practice all week, like Rahm, because they've got that carrot of being able to win. So I would say your bets are almost bets to nothing because they're going to seed out the 4 rounds and they're going to be the players following him. And they have the maximum motivation, really, which is quite a key, really, in this week because some players probably won't have. There's probably only going to be 10 or 15 players with the right motivation or what they used to, should I say.
And the big thing here is there's no cut. So, I mean, if they do have one dodgy round, then they can get away with murder. And listen, we will know that even Rory McIlroy, who's flattered really this season, he's not really, apart from obviously at the Players' Championship at Sawgrass, he's not really delivered and he's always thrown in a dodgy round. But in this format, he can throw a dodgy round in and then put together a couple of 63s and he'd be bang there. I
think Rory's still playing well. I mean, I felt for him in the Open. I mean, he obviously, his second round was just that of a champion trying to get back in it. The way he won the Canadian Open, like the players, his game's there. There's no doubt about it. His game's there. He's just missing a little bit of his confidence that he's had previous years from winning so much. But it wouldn't surprise me, Flash. He's one of the players that can go low and can actually just move through the leaderboard. So, you've got to respect Rory, definitely.
Craig, give us a little rundown of your picks, and if you fancy any sort of players against other players, or just basically give us a little rundown, will you?
Yeah, I will do. So I went for Matsuyama in the market for the 72 holes that is running. I like Adam Scott for a top 10 finish. I like Webb Simpson for his top 10 finish. I like a small bet on Rahm in the main thing because I think he opened 16 to 1 over here. I think he's about 1,400 in America, and he must have a chance with cover. Koepka the same. And yeah, in match bets, I think you need to be picking players you think are still motivated, still practiced, or still professional enough. So I would be looking to oppose maybe Justin Rose, who seems a little bit out of form this season. Definitely be looking to support Adam Scott, Webb Simpson, in particular in the match bets, and you're looking to take on a player that's maybe Ricky Fowler, something like that, that's not got a lot to play for this year. So that would be my idea of the bets that you could really have in the event. I think it's not an event for people to go mad on.
Okay, so that's Eastlake, and that's the Tour Champs. Now, coming up, are you going to be doing any homework on the Solheim Cup and the President's Cup, Craig?
Yes. Yeah, I always do. The President's Cup will be interesting, definitely. Yeah, I always follow the ladies as well. I have quite a lot of bets myself on the ladies. So yes, President's Cup could be interesting with Tiger Woods as the guy that's meant to motivate them. That will be interesting, Flash, because as we know, I mean, he's been pretty much from our side of the water. He's probably been the reason we've had a lot of success in the Ryder Cup, because he's just never really gelled in the team format. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, America normally dominate the President's Cup, but could be interesting this year.
You're not edging towards the rest of the world, are you?
I could be tempted. They don't normally come good, but it depends really. At some point, I suppose, Tiger Woods is going to go through a stage where he goes from that ultra competitor to more a team man and more probably giving back. I think you can already see it this year with him at times. I think he's quite relaxed when he's not injured. So, yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot about Tiger Woods in the President's Cup, actually, for his future.
I think we've seen a different Tiger Woods this year, haven't we? He's taken time out, actually on the course. He's smiled a bit more. He just seems to be sort of taken that sort of mortality of his golf game. He knows now that his best years are behind him, but he can still compete, as we saw at the Masters at Augusta National. But he seems to be enjoying it, almost not taking the game for granted now and just having a good time.
That is absolutely spot on, Flash. What I noticed was the British Open. The first day he could hardly move. It was wet, it was windy. We know what it's like in Ireland and on the links courses. I almost expected him to withdraw overnight because he had no chance of making the cut. And obviously he's got to be cautious with his injuries. And if he had done, that's fair enough. But he came out next day, sort of liaising with the crowd and having a bit of fun and what have you. And he was giving back to the sport, really. I mean, the Open going to Northern Ireland was excellent, but it may be the only time he gets to play there in an Open. So I thought that showed that Tiger's changing, and like you say, he's got more mortality and a feel for the overall sport and what is good for the sport, and the fact that he doesn't take it for granted anymore. So.
Okay, listen, Craig, it's always great to talk to you. I'm sure we're going to talk to you again soon with the snooker season starting to really get ahead of steam up. Anything just ahead of you that you're looking forward to on the snooker front?
Yes, I think it is going to start to get quite het up. Judd Trump last week in China just started the season the way he finished. And I was quite surprised because I know that he'd been in Vegas for 4 weeks partying. And I thought, well, he might start slow. He's probably not practiced a lot till he got there. But suddenly he gets to the last stages again. He gives Selby a drubbing. He's almost taken over Mark Selby as the world number one. And there's an air of inevitability in the world of snooker at the moment with Judd Trump. And I'm excited to see if he can keep that dominance going. And yeah, we've got the Shanghai Masters in September. Then we've got another event late in the month in China. We've got the 6 Reds World Championship in Thailand, which is always it's an odd event, 6 Reds, but it always attracts the best players. So there's a lot to get our teeth into in the coming weeks.
Craig, we talked snooker, we talked golf. We're going to be talking Craig Edwards. Look forward to speaking to you soon, mate. Thanks for your work.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the Premier League show, Flash. You keep making me a few, Bob, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thursday, Premier League punters. Look forward to it. Take care, Craig. Now,
and you, Flash.
Now we're going to move on to esports. We're going to go to the other side of the world, not North America. We're going to go to Shanghai, where Dota 2, Defense of the Ancients. We're talking esports. We've got to be talking to Adam. Adam, I know you're smiling because you know I've done my research.
Yeah, of course. I thought you were going to say I was in Shanghai. I was going to be like, well, my sleep pattern is kind of with the Chinese, but no, I'm still in England, unfortunately.
Hey, to me, you're in China in your heart and mind.
That's right. Yeah, and as I said, my dreams.
Okay, well, listen, before, obviously people know that we've spoken before on esports, and I do have a love of certain ones. It's the all or nothing with me. But how's my team Liquid doing?
Well, I don't think it's their year, Flash. Sorry, there's a dog going off outside my window, and it's not mine. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it. So sorry if you can hear that.
No problem at all.
Team Liquid, yeah, they are the TI7 champions. TI8, they really didn't show. I mean, I think they had a reasonable playoff run, but it definitely wasn't top 3. And then this year they got rid of their mid laner, Matumba Man, who was part of the longest, most successful Dota roster, really, for the better part of 2-3 years there. And they brought in a very talented player, Boothe, and they got second place at Epicenter in Moscow. I think that was around the time we last chatted, actually. And then this week, they are on the cusp of elimination, and they have looked really poor this week. I have to say, for all the talent, Kuroki and company hasn't shown their potential.
Is that down to a change of personnel that they haven't quite gelled yet?
Absolutely. I think okay, so what happened was when they got rid of their mid laner, there was the expectation that the new player coming in would bring some new hero potential. He would be a little bit more aggressive. And unfortunately, I think that based on their success at Epicenter, where a lot of teams that were top teams and had qualified for TI didn't really show up, the finish where Liquid got second place was a bit of a misconception as to their overall form and compatibility. So, I mean, we don't get to see the practice rooms. We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. But what we saw from them at Moscow and what we're seeing in Shanghai is two very different teams. And I'm seeing them as a slight favorite at a few places tomorrow, and I'm already looking to go against your boys.
Yeah, well, listen, I look at them, flatter to deceive, okay, Team Liquid. What about Team Secret? I know they were one of your picks for the futures in Dota 2. How are they doing so far?
Yeah, so Secret has been the number one team over the entire circuit, end of 2018 and all through 2019. They, going into it, I said, they play the cleanest Dota. They have the widest variety of hero pool. Puppy, their in-game leader, who has been the, I guess, mastermind since the inception of Dota 2. He's considered a genius when it comes to drafting, and he's got all the pieces this year to win TI. Now, he hasn't won one since his first, as any player has, but this would be a letdown year for Secret. Now, I didn't actually take Secret in that Outrights article. Because it's with how talented the top 6 teams are, it's hard to say at 3.5 or whatever they were at the time, I'm going to take them. Now, I know a few people that did take them off my recommendation, and I say it's a great pick because right now they're still the betting favorite. But I favor them to come out of the upper bracket, but I do think that they're susceptible and maybe slightly overpriced as we move forward.
Okay, well, if they're doing so well and you've tipped them up early, so if someone's actually gone with them as a futures right at the very beginning, who would they go for to maybe come and have a saver?
So during the group stage, there's only a few books that will open their lines after every day. Bet365 is one of them, and if you go over to their site right now, so Secret's 3.5, PSG LGD's 3.5, but what you want to do is you want to look at the upper bracket teams for now. So you want to look at Secret, PSG, LGD. I would say what we saw from Vici today shows that they are beatable. I mean, on the map 3, they looked dominant, but I would put a lot of that on TNC messing up their last pick Broodmother, which should have been a gimme almost. So looking at Team Secret and LGD are justifiably priced where they are. For a sort of a saver pick, I went with two that I posted on Saturday. I took OG, who is the defending champs. Okay, Flash, last year, I just got to say this. Last year, OG was expected to come last place at this tournament, last out of 18 teams, and they won the whole trophy. They were priced at like 50-1 or something astronomical. Now this year, they're looking actually better than they did last year, but they don't have that sort of will fly under the radar. People will take us for granted kind of thing. And so they're now, I took them at, I think it was 9 on Saturday. They're down to 5. And I also took Evil Geniuses at 11. They're down to 9. Those are two teams in the upper bracket that I say can still take games off of Vici, Secret, and LGD. LGD is playing Vici. One of them is going to drop down. And, you know, OG, Evil Geniuses, I just think have the most value. EG hasn't shown their full potential yet. Maybe they're hiding some drafts. We heard that one of their players was a bit sick last week, Sumail. So again, I think as you go into the tournament, you want to be hitting your stride, you know, 3rd, 4th round, you know, group stage. It's okay to sort of get the feel of it, especially when this is the first TI in Shanghai. The Western teams, like OG and EG, they're not accustomed to, you know, having huge amounts of success in China. And of course, you've got the absolute blistering loud crowd in Shanghai. So again, I can see why Vici and LGD are where they are at. But I would say if you're looking for purely a value pick, look at OG or EG.
Okay, before we have a little look at like, there's a bunch of matches tonight and what your picks are, I wrote down fatigue and acclimatization for these groups that are going over the other side of the world, different time zone. So now that you're playing when you might be sleeping or you're sleeping when you might be playing, how big a factor is that? Are we looking at a home champion?
So again, in that first Outrights article, I put you take Secret or you take a Chinese team at this point. This is before seeing anybody, before seeing the current meta. And I still stick by that. If gun to my head, I have to choose. Honestly, Flash, I haven't heard an esports crowd this raucous in such a long time. It was, I mean, I tweeted out this morning, it was 4:15 when I woke up. I slept through my first 2 alarms, which I'd set just before 4. When I turned on the stream, that Chinese crowd was louder than my alarm. And of course, you know, it was next to my ear. So I do love the Chinese teams. I love that the crowd's behind them, but also with that comes pressure. And, you know, Chinese fans are fanatics. You know, when the Chinese teams were behind in their games today, it was dead silent. So that you feel that as a player, just like, I mean, you play professional sports. You feel when the crowd is anxious for you to do better, and you feel when it's, you know, behind you, and that affects your psychology, I imagine. And even in these soundproof booths, you know that these players are feeling the crowd, whether it's for or against them. So while I think fatigue in terms of and acclimatization can be factors early on in the tournament, it's more can we deal with the enemy, or what's the word, the animosity of the crowd walking out there. They're not booing the foreign squads, but they're certainly not cheering them the same way they erupt for their home. So I would say the Chinese teams, there's still 3 left, but LGD Vici have a serious chance to take it. Yeah.
So the games that are coming up in the next round, and obviously tonight, who are you picking?
So the first one up is OG versus Team Newbie. Now, as I mentioned, OG is one of my plays on the outrights. That when I do my trading, if I place an outright, it's based on the outright prices. It's not based on the match money lines. I'm not saying, okay, I'm only taking this because I expect OG to beat Newbie. I do expect OG to beat Newbie, and I've taken the -1.5 at 1.85 at Betway. That is the best price from the books I use currently. It's about 1.75, 1.8 everywhere else. Now, I liked what I saw from Newbie. They're the North American squad that isn't named EG. And honestly, they're gelling at the right time. I tweeted out and wrote in the article that, and you can check out that article for some more insight. I do think that Newbie is one of those teams peaking at they're at their pinnacle that we've seen all year. However, OG's team play is just off the charts right now. They as one of the analysts said, they have 2 support players, 4 and 5, that are the most selfless players at the top level. We're talking players that are willing to fall on their sword for their carries. They're willing to do everything they can, the next thing that their team needs them to do to win the game, even if they're behind. I'm just so thoroughly impressed with OG. Do I think Newbie has some value on the money line? Yes. But plus 1.5, I think we need to see 2.3, 2.5 range, given how good OG looks right now.
Okay, would that be your only play?
Oh, yeah, sorry, no. Okay, I'll run them down quickly, and then I can sort of do a best bet thing. EG plus 1.5, I've taken against Secret at 1.66 at Bookmaker. Again, EG played a best of 5 with Secret. I think it was the Birmingham tournament, and they took them all 3 maps. These teams have highly skilled players, very comparable in level. What I think it comes down to is Secret is more versatile. They are able to come up with never before seen drafts, I guess you might say, or new ways to run the drafts. Maybe as I heard today, they can switch a 4 and a 5 mid game or a 3 and a 4. They will adjust on the fly a lot better than EG will, and EG has become a bit stale, known for being a bit stale in their strategy. So I do think EG still has a bit of value there to take a game. I'm also on RNG, Royal Never Give Up against Virtus Pro, plus 1.5, and Moneyline. VP, today we saw them play PSG LGD. They got absolutely trashed. And that's not a word I commonly use to describe the results of a game, but they did. And they're playing another Chinese team now that is not the same level as LGD, but we're getting them at 1.8 to take one game and 3.8 to take the series. And given what I've seen from VP in both the group stages and in playoffs today, I can't price them anything below 1.5. I would say 1.5 is the maximum the bare minimum I would say that has value for VP. So that was the rationale there. And my final play on tonight is TNC Moneyline 2.0 at Bet365 against Team Liquid. And the rationale there was Team Liquid still adjusting, they're still very talented. Can they beat TNC? Yes. This line should be closer to like a 1.8 TNC, 1.9 Liquid, or 1.9 each way. So I think there's just marginal value on TNC there. Right now, I put a unit down, but I might throw a half unit down, additional half unit, seeing after I've broken it down a little bit more.
Okay, round it up for me, Ad.
So I would say in terms of a best bet, if that's what you're asking for, from a strictly value perspective, RNG plus 1.5. I'm not typically a guy that does, bankers or plays of the day. I'm a high volume person. So I like all of my plays if you had to ask me. But I would say if I just got to choose one for pricing, and the OG one, actually, I do think even though I've liked what I've seen from Newbie, 1.85 for a 2-0 is a great price.
Okay, so now we're cheering on OGV, 11s into 5s. We're cheering them on, are we?
Yeah, I mean, we got in at the right time. I liked what I saw after the first 2 days. After day 3, after we placed it, dropped immediately because they were going to the upper bracket. And as you know, teams in the upper bracket get 2 lives, teams in the lower bracket get 1. So as soon as a team drops down, EG or Secret, OG, PSG, LGD, or VG, all of these teams are going to drop. Sorry, not all. Half of these teams are going to drop down over the next few days. See who they're matching up against in the lower bracket on the way, and see if you can get some more value just because they're in the lower bracket.
Until next time, good luck with your picks. Make sure this gets clipped. Go over to oddsmarket.com. We're going to tweet it out as well. Good luck, mate, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Flash. Enjoy your day.
Keep up the great work. Cheers. That was Ad from eSports. We've had Craig Edwards who went through the golf. I'll quickly run through his picks. Now, there's two separate markets here. Obviously, we know that Justin Thomas is going to start 2 clear of Patrick Cantlay. We did put the graphic up earlier. We'll make sure that we retweet this out again. But he likes Webb Simpson top 10, Adam Scott top 10, and Hideki Matsuyama over the 72 holes. Now, if you look and just go without the FedEx rankings, then John Rahm and Brooks Koepka both around 11. First 5, fifth of the odds, 2 to 1 a place, with the opportunity of 2 big guns going for the reward. In DaveBets was our English Football League correspondent, giving us a few tips. He likes Leeds, he loves Fulham, dodgy games, Cardiff, Huddersfield, and remember Sheffield Wednesday to beat Luton for the first time since 1992. I was a young boy then. See you next time. Take care.